Hello, Austin, Texas. We are back, and we have another exciting edition of the Jeff Davis Show. And I want to just mention we're going to play that lead in again in case if you all missed part of it. There was a lot of work put into that, so we're going to go ahead and play that here, either in midway through the show, the end of the show, whatever. Now we've got another exciting show for you lined up tonight. We've got scheduled to come in. We have Mr. Charlie Waits, local talk radio personality, and a couple of things going on. We got some stuff concerning Mount Carmel. It burned down, the little shed that people were living in. But before we get to that, we've got a young lady in the studio with us from, now correct me if I'm wrong, her name is Mary Helen Parent. That's the American way to put it, right?
Yes.
And she is what's called a Raelian priest. Miss Parent, I'd like to first off welcome you to the Jeff Davis Show.
Thank you, Jeff.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I know you all got a little presentation you want to get to here, and you've got this painting back here. Donna, you did this?
Donna Grebo, which is the artist, and she's a Raelian here in Austin, and she takes care of the chapter in Austin.
So we have a little bit different background, at least for the first segment of this program tonight. And my allergies are killing me, so I'm going to try to muster through this. Okay, Miss Parent, or may I call you Mary
Yes,
Helen? Mary Helen. Okay.
Please do.
Tell us a little bit about what is a Raelian priest and what is the Raelian movement all about?
Well, the Raelian movement comes from the word Rael, and Rael is the person who met an extraterrestrial in 1973, 6 days in a row, and he explained to Rael that how they came here 25,000 years ago and they created everything that there is on Earth right now. They created all life, they created human beings scientifically through DNA. So they're the one, and there, if you look in the original Bible in Hebrew, you can find the word Elohim, and Elohim means those who came from the sky. It's a plural. And in the current Bible that we have, it has been translated by a singular word, God, which is completely different that the word Elohim means, because the singular of Elohim is Eloha. So they're the one who came here, and they created us on their image, on their likeness, like it's written. And it's their image, their likeness means that, you know, they're more than one. And if we are like them, they like us, so they're a human being like us that created us. Okay.
Now, folks, I want to just mention that I've studied the Bible rather in depth myself, and I can tell you that I'm not going to agree with everything you say here, but I can also tell you that I'm not going to agree with most of the things that organized religion says, because as far as I'm concerned, that's one of the biggest rackets going. So, keeping my views aside here, how did you first get involved in this?
It was in 1978. What happened, I found the book, of Rael's book in French, and I read it in one afternoon, and that was it. For me, it answered, and in the same time, create new questions in my head. And it makes so much sense, because everything can be explained that we can understand. There is no such thing as miracle or mystery. It's just a gap in civilization. But if you have enough scientific knowledge, everything can be understood. Even miracles that we think they are, they're not. It's just that we cannot understand it.
So what is the Raelian movement then? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, we have two goals, and the primary goal is to spread the message that you have in this book everywhere on the planet. And so far we're doing very well, because there is over 35,000 members on all the continents. We are in many countries, over 85 countries. And the book has been translated in about 25 languages so far. And then, in order to build an embassy in Jerusalem or near Jerusalem, that's what the Elohim asked Rael to do. And this embassy is the third temple that the Jewish people are waiting for to build. That's going to be an embassy where there is extraterritoriality, where the Elohim can come officially, come back with all the prophets, like every great prophets. It says in their religion that they're going to come back, and they will, but like in flesh, like you and me, they're going to come back with the Elohim, and then they will be able to give us their knowledge, scientific knowledge, their wisdom, and help us to grow out of this epoch, which is chaos, and get into the golden age. And before they come, then we have to make sure that we have this embassy, and then to have a little bit more love between each other, because if they won't come if people don't accept each other for what they are.
Okay, we had talked just briefly before the program started. Raelian, right? Raelian. I'm sorry. And we had talked about this. We heard it on our lead in there about this. What some of the leaders and some of the phrase of the world is a new world order.
Mm-hmm.
Now I had it was mentioned to me that you all, or at least you, had stated on Joyce Isaac's show today. I don't know, maybe I didn't get a chance to hear it because of my schedule, but that you all are on the surface support this new world order.
Not the one that they're talking about, because I don't support people who wants to rule the world just to have power. That's
the one that we're in right now.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with that. We want a world language that everybody can communicate together, but everybody will keep their own identity and their own language. But to have one language that we can all communicate together, that would be very good. And I think it's going to be English, because so far that's what it's more spread out in the world is English. So it's going to be probably the world language for everybody. But everybody will keep their own culture, their own differences, because that's what it's all about. It's to be able to be what you are in your own culture and appreciate the differences of others. And the world government will be one representative of every country will be in that council to make decisions, so the world can be a peaceful place to live in, but nothing to. It will be a humanitarianism action, not something that people would like to take over and take charge, and like bankers would like to rule the world. It has nothing to do with that at all.
Well, I think that any time though where you get a situation where there's a concentration of power, whether it be the current rulers or future rulers, you're going to have that potential.
It depends on.
That's why I would. That's why I kind of am against this whole movement toward in any shape or fashion, because power corrupts. And then absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have absolute power.
So there would be as checks and balances. Okay,
yes.
But let's get more back into where I just wanted to bring that up, because that was brought up to me, and I thought, what?
Why
so I had to clarify that.
Yes.
Because I can tell you that the face of this new world order that the world's populace is facing now is not pretty.
No, I agree with you.
Unless you want, unless you're, a real good slave, and you want to be led around like a bunch of cattle and all of that.
Yeah, we want that. We don't want that.
But so, first off, where are you from?
I'm from Montreal, but I live in Miami now. It's too cold in Montreal, and I come here and it's freezing. It was so nice in Miami. It was very, very warm.
Do you have an occupation, or?
Yes, because everybody in the movement, in the Raelian movement, are volunteers. Nobody's paid to do. We do it on our own time and money and whatever. So everybody has a job, and we are very in the society. We're not like a commune and live apart. We are involved in the society with the people, and everybody does what they want, what they like to do to earn their living.
Now, before we I know you all got a presentation here we're going to get to in just a minute here. But before we get to that, what mostly do you want to say to the viewers of this program? What do you want to say about you I guess what you're trying to accomplish, or what do you specifically want to say to people on this particular on the as a Raelian priest? That's Raelian. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to say to the viewers?
Well, I can say a lot. To make a brief summary, these messages are the most important for humanity. And when the Elohim, when they met Rael, they met him so he can give their message to humanity. And it's about. You want me to talk there?
No, you look at the camera there. There's see the monitor right there. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's all right. You can talk to me. Okay, go ahead.
Look at you.
Then you can look at me.
Yes. It's. I feel good to look at you.
Okay.
And.
Well, you're not too bad to look at yourself. Well, go ahead.
And that's going to change the whole world. Because right now we are in chaos, because we are like, humanity is like a biological entity that we were born as babies and we're growing up, and like now we're about like teenagers in crisis, and if we want to pass, to get older as a humanity and to go in golden age, we need more wisdom. Because now we have a lot of scientific knowledge for our young age, but we're still babies, you know, playing with fire. It's very dangerous. We need to have more wisdom, and those messages are wisdom. It's pure consciousness to really awaken the consciousness of humanity, so we can get in that paradise like the Elohim live in. Because the Elohim went through the same path that we're going through, because they had progression in their evolution, in their humanity too. They were babies, teenagers. Now they live in paradise, and we can do that too. And with those messages are tools: meditation, how to love each other more, how to love yourself more. It's all in there. So what I can do is that I wish to everybody, it's a gift. It's a gift from space that we can use to make this world a better world. That's what we want to do.
I also have to mention too that some of my study, Mary Ellen would appear that this is probably delving into a little bit of New Age. Are you familiar with the New Age?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're, but I'm not going to say that. I'm just bringing this up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I've already mentioned to you that organized religion to me is one of the biggest rackets. I call it the obey Caesar churches, because basically all they do is tell you to bow down to the current rulers. That's largely their philosophy. So, but when you start talking about meditation and some of these other things, are you referring to maybe a minor type of yoga, or what are you?
Well, the techniques that the Elohim taught to Rael, it's called sensual meditation. And the sensual meditation is the awakening of the body for the awakening of the mind. Because everything you have in your mind came through your senses. All your knowledge, all your thoughts, it's because you heard it, or you saw it, or you tasted it, or you touched it, you felt it. That's why you have that knowledge in your mind. But if you would have no senses, your mind will be blank. So it means that it comes from, all you have there comes through those receptors of what surrounds you. So if you awake them, refine them, you will automatically refine and awake your brain, your intelligence, your harmony, your consciousness. So that's what the sensual meditation is all about. It's to let the place that surrounds you to give you pleasure. That's what sensuality is all about. And when I say sensuality, I'm not saying necessarily sexuality. It's two different things. You can be sensual in your sexuality, but you can be sensual when you eat a good meal, when you talk with somebody, when you look at the sun, when you look at a tree, just to feel more the infinity that surrounds you and the infinity that is in you. That's what meditation is all about. It means practice. Meditation comes from meditare, which means practice. It's to practice, and the sensual meditation is to practice your senses, to develop them, to feel more.
Do you have any? So you definitely then are of the idea that. See, I've had people on my program that talk about Pleiadians. Have you done any? Well, just to get into the Greys and the Pleiadians and all of the different extraterrestrials that are supposedly or flying around all over, which, just between you and me, I don't believe most of it. I do believe that there's anti-gravity aircraft, but I believe it's, again, coming from our rulers. But do you believe then that there is
there is an infinity of humanity in the universe, because the universe is infinite. So there is an infinity, and in the infinitely small and in the infinitely large. It's incredible. But on this planet, which is ours, the Elohim are the only one who come here. Or if they would allow somebody else to come, they would have to, the other one would have to have the permission of the Elohim to come here. Because we are their civilization in a way, because they created us. So they kind of protecting us. But in a way, they don't really need to protect us, because there is a law. There is this is very important. So you can't take away all the fears of the unknown who lives somewhere else very far. There is a cosmic law that says that as soon as you're capable scientifically to get out of your solar system, you're automatically peaceful. Because if you're not peaceful, suppose take as an example ourselves. We're not very peaceful yet, but we have a lot of knowledge, and soon we'll be capable to get out of our solar system. We didn't yet. But before we can go outside of our solar system, if we don't get wiser, we will destroy ourselves. So we cannot hurt other civilization in the universe, because if we're aggressive, we're going to kill ourselves, destroy ourselves before we can go outside. So the extraterrestrial who come here, they're automatically peaceful, because if they have the technology they have, which is very, very high, means that they're not aggressive anymore, because they wouldn't exist. They would have destroyed themselves. So we don't have to be scared like all the movies that they show to us to scare people. I'm wondering how much of those movies are not kind of conspiracy from people to make sure that people are scared, so they can manipulate them better. You see, it's a question to see who are behind all those movies to scare people off, so they can, be in power more of those people who are scared. We don't need to fear anything at all, because those bad people, if they are bad, they probably have, I'm sure there is bad people who live on another planet, but they can't come here. They can't.
Let's get it, if we could. This is I don't understand much of it, but anyway, this Donna made this painting, or designed this painting here, and I think it needs to at least be shown on. Do you actually want to come up here and explain any of this, and then we'll get to your other little presentation here you have. Okay. That looks like a lot of work, if you ask me.
Okay, your mic's on. Go ahead.
It looks like a lot of work to me, but that's just.
Thank you. But I did it in.
Let me get up out of your way here. Go ahead, you can stay here, Mary.
Yeah.
Do you want to just stand up here, or do you want to?
Okay, I'll stand to the side.
And then you can go ahead and do your other presentation too.
Oh, okay.
Let me get this out of your way here. Go ahead. I'll be back in about.
I wanted to have a concept that showed one world making contact with another world, the parent and the child world, because and I have a DNA strand that transforms into the bridge. Down on the bottom, I have some major religions, and this bridge ties the religions together and ties us to our creators. And then I have welcome our scientific creators from space. And so I also have a presentation of the brochure that we pass out.
I'll help you.
Okay.
Oops, you are in your cord.
Sorry. Okay, here we go. I'll read from the brochure, and Mary Helen will hold up the drawings. In a time when space travel, genetics, and electronics have caused a real revolution, the people of today are technologically in the future, but philosophically in a distant past. Men and women of the present live philosophy adapted to the technological progress of their era. The belief of guilt and their genuflection and contrition is now obsolete, as are devils and benign deities who assume the right to control others, by making people unaware of the consequences of their actions and by favoring that which is most destabilizing, suffering. Today we want a spiritual life which enhances wisdom and pleasure, improves our consciousness, and allows us to feel connected to ourselves, to all other human beings, to all living things, and to the infinite universe. This kind of spirituality does exist. It is Raelianism. People have lost the real meaning of religiosity. Religion, from the Latin, means to connect. To be religious does not mean reciting traditional prayers that we do not understand. It means feeling connected to ourselves and to the infinity which surrounds us. André Malraux said, "The third millennium will be religious or it will not be," and it is. Raelianism is an atheist religion premised on the fundamental concept of the human being. We do not need those religions that legitimize their values from divine rights, thus penalizing those who do not share their convictions. We want a universal religion that draws its legitimacy from values premised on human rights, and that is Raelian religion. The common denominator of all people is their desire to be happy and to live in a harmonious and peaceful world. So we need values which contribute to the blossoming of every person and which cultivate human idiosyncrasies in order to replace archaic values whose only function is to maintain traditions. Raelianism means living out humanistic values daily. It means loving yourself unconditionally in order to love others better. It means feeling responsible for our actions even when following orders. It means having absolute respect for life because whoever saves the life of a non-violent person saves the world. Being Raelian means campaigning for a peaceful planet without national armies but with a worldwide army of peacemakers. This way, the national military budgets can be used to fight hunger throughout the world, and everyone has the right throughout their lifetime to have enough food, a place to sleep, some clothes, and access to education, as noted in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And there's not a single country that gives the application of these articles of paramount importance priority over the arms race. We Raelians denounce this false position. To mean Raelian also means going beyond tolerance by putting forth a concept which would guarantee peace among all people, love of differences, not a mere acceptance, but a genuine culture of sexual, racial, religious, and other diversities. The Raelians developed this new philosophy by meeting regularly, particularly during an awakening seminar, which are held on each continent. There are many hundreds of individuals are taught a philosophy centered on personal growth and meditation. Now it is proven scientifically that meditation fosters the development of our physiological and psychological potential, of which we are only 10%. Raelians practice sensual meditation. This word means training in the pleasure of the senses. This meditation permits us to increase the quality of the information that the senses transmit to the brain and gradually manage that information completely. Sensual meditation allows us to develop our capacity to harmonize ourselves with the infinity which is part of us and which surrounds us. The teachings given during these seminars also bring back the importance of pleasure to the life of each individual. They are the last straw for all the anti-pleasure institutions who have broken millions of people seeking a better existence. Isn't happiness the pleasure you feel at every moment? The Raelian revolution challenged existing dogmas.
Our educators taught us that life on earth is the result of many strokes of good luck or the fruit of the whims of a divine being. These two theories have never been proven, leaving up in the air all existential questions that all people ask themselves. Where do we come from? Why are we here? Where are we going? The Raelian religion brings irrational and revolutionary answers to these questions. And today we realize that we are not alone in the universe. We are traveling in space. We are discovering the mechanisms of life through genetic engineering. And now we are capable of understanding that in December 1973, a journalist named Rael met several times with a representative of an extraterrestrial civilization who told him, "We created humankind. Your ancestor has deified us. We are the origin of all religions on earth." And these people from space created humankind in their image thousands of years ago, thanks to the mastery of genetic material deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA. We can find traces of their enormous feats in the ancient texts of many civilizations, such as the original Bible, where they are called Elohim, an ancient word meaning those who come from the sky. They initiated all the great prophets, like Buddha, Moses, Mohammed, Jesus, by giving them a message adapted to the level of consciousness of the people of their time, in order to guide humanity to the age of revelation, which we have reached since 1945. Now, in the light of our scientific progress, we can understand who they are without mystifying. The Elohim wish to come back to Earth officially to meet with the leaders of our government in an embassy acknowledged by the United Nations. And they asked Rael to send up the international Raelian movement and bring this message to knowledge to all humanity. And this message is in the book called The Message Given to Me by Extraterrestrials. And the messages are here to prepare humanity for the welcoming of the Elohim when they return to the temple that we will build for them soon in the future.
The last one here.
Yeah,
And here's the model of the embassy.
the replica. It's like a crop circle that we saw in land. One of them was the blueprint of the embassy that has to be built for the Elohim. Okay. So those painting, Donna did all of them, so she's a very talented woman.
Well, I try. It's kind of like my way of, I have so much inside me I want to say, and
Yeah. Y'all got some calls.
I'm-
Can you take them real quick?
sure.
Okay. Because they've been on hold forever.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. You want to show her?
Thanks, Donna. Wonderful.
Okay. We have some callers on the hold. Hello. We'll go ahead and take them now whenever you're all.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Well, Jeff, let me tell you, usually, you have Galen Ross on, ex-National Security Administration. Hold on, I'm going to turn on my television.
Okay.
Can you hear that?
Can you put it louder a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff,
Yes, sir.
all I was going to say is this. Jeff's got a great show. He's had people on, like Galen Ross, who's been an international consultant for large oil companies, and I've seen his credentials. I've read about him in other books. He works for the National Security Administration. Jeff has a lot of great facts on his show. But I tell you, ladies, I think all this stuff that you're into is nothing but a large diversion. And I can also tell that Jeff isn't too deep into this. And I agree with Jeff. I think this is pretty nebulous, and I don't think it's on target. I think it's a diversion. And Jeff, I think you got a good show. I would just hope that I would just hope that you would not agree with this behavior, because mixing this in with your successful movement and the Patriot Front that we're trying to start up in this area, I think this could really, I mean, I know that you like to have a forum for people to come out and, you know, have free speech, and I understand that you don't agree with a lot of stuff you have on, but I don't know, ladies. I've been watching, and it sounds to me it's just like some kind of recycled stuff, you know, some kind of Hinduism for the Western world, and I don't agree with it. I'm sure there are, you know, I mean, the Hubble Space Telescope has categorized 500 billion galaxies just since it's been up the last few years and since it's been fixed. So I would agree there's probably life all over space. But I think this is all diversion. We need to worry about the tax bracket, the police powers, the thumb scanning, the microchips. All this is real. This is all well known. And Jeff, I saw your intro at the first. I enjoyed seeing that on your intro. It showed one of the thumb scanners that are being installed in all major states now. And I was watching C-SPAN the other day. For people's information out there, it's called the National Surveillance System, and it's a $400 million building. Just the equipment costs $400 million.
Let me interrupt you for a minute. Now, you've stated that you're against this enslaving system that the current regime has.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know what is this question. If he has a question.
Do you have a question or comment?
Well, my question is this. You know, I'll start listening to you, and you can bring an alien on TV and show me one. And, you know, I mean, this stuff may be real, but it doesn't matter. There's so much factual stuff that's so damn strange that's happening in this country now, and there's so much incredible BS. Folks, we got that right here in Texas. You go down, you'll be computer scanned, your thumb, and, I mean, you're not a criminal, but it's being done to you to get a driver's license or renew your driver's license, and they have built a national grid. It's supposed to be up by 1998. They've got the giant computer system. It's in Langley, Virginia, right next door to the CIA. So that's all real. All I'm saying, and all I'm asking this lady is hey, you know, I think that, you know, you shouldn't come out against the globalists and the New World Order. And I was just watching C-SPAN and saw Gorbachev on there earlier today at some big conference, some big global conference. So this is all real. But your alien stuff, I'd like to see you back it up with some fact right in my face until I start believing it. And please, Jeff, don't mix this in with the movement. I know you probably don't agree with it. Have a good evening.
Take care. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let you respond.
Well, you didn't ask any question. So what he says, it's his own belief, and I respect that. So if it's what he believes, that's fine.
Let me ask you, do you travel around and go on different shows and whatnot, or? Yes,
and we give a lot of lecture in university and everywhere in around the world. And
do you have a lot of people doubting it, what you're saying, or? Yes,
but it's okay. We're not here to convince anybody. We're just here to give the information that was given to Rael for all humanity. There is people who are ready to take it, there is people who are not, and it's fine. If somebody is Catholic or Baptist or Jewish and he's happy, that's fine.
See, my situation is as a talk show host. Yes. I think, you know, I'm just trying to. In fact, I don't think that there's anybody that I've had on my program that I agree with 100%. Not one person.
Yes.
Okay, so I think just as a talk show host, I think I don't see anything wrong with having people that I don't have to agree with on everything. I think that obviously there's something. You all think this is something, and actually, I think you should have the right to be able to express your.
This is very important. For some people, it looks so foreign that they don't see it because it comes from somewhere else on another planet. But this is about us. This is where we come from. This is answering all the big questions. Why, when, who, where. This is answering everything. And it's all the question we have about ourselves for years. Where do we come from? Where are we going? And I think it's not something that doesn't involve ourselves. It involves us because it's all about us. And he might not talk about all what that gentleman talked about precisely, but doesn't mean it's not as important as what he's talking about. It might be more important, but it's not because he doesn't see it that it's not important. It's not because nobody sees the truth that it's not there.
I think what he was referring to is like I frequently have like congressional bills that I think are just designed nothing more to put more laws on us, make us more slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And you can slap that bill up on a camera and
Mm-hmm.
read people where they're trying they're trying to do this or do that or make hate crimes or whatever they're trying to. Whereas what I guess what he's saying maybe is that since there hasn't been an alien or anything like this that's that's been thrown in front of us.
Well, then at masochists, do you think they're going to come here?
Well,
Hey, we got full calls.
okay.
Because they don't want to be killed. We don't have enough respect for differences.
And one more time,
We're too
I want
intolerant.
to make it clear, Mariel, that you absolutely agree. You absolutely are totally against this current brand of world government.
Of course, of
Okay,
course. Because what we're talking about in the book about world government has nothing to do with what's going on now. Because what's going on now, it's a power trip.
Right.
And that has nothing to do at all.
Okay.
So
Okay, next caller, you're on the air.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, and you?
All right. Now, the word Elohim is, where do you get that from?
it's a Hebrew word which means those who came from the sky.
And where does that come from?
If you look in all the original Bible in Hebrew, and there is few Bible in English that kept the word Elohim, but very few. It has been all mistranslated by the word God, singular.
Uh-huh. And then you're saying it's a plural, which is
Yes.
extraterrestrial.
You can find it in the dictionary.
Well, and the other thing is, I've seen some of your material playing, and what is the relationship between the Elohim? Isn't there some political division on the home world or something, where, with regard to the experiment that's going on here, regarding the genetic manipulation and such? Wasn't there in your doctrine and your material, isn't there something that explains a political disagreement between the basically the founders of this project and some of the other
On their planet, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Because when they came here, created everything on this planet, some people on their planet agreed with it, and others were not, because when we have been created, there was a group that said that this creation is not good, they're too aggressive, and it's a bad experience that we did. But the people who were here and created us really took their defense, and they wanted to protect us, and that's what they did when they destroyed everything on the planet. Noah's Ark was a space shuttle that kept all the cells of every species that were created, and they preserved it up there from the
ones that
destruction.
weren't contaminated with extraterrestrial semen or whatever, right? The extraterrestrial gene pool became mixed with the planned project gene pool, and that was disagreed with. That had to be put to an end. But my issue is this, that this word Elohim comes from the Bible.
Yes.
There is possibly going to be some war over this in amongst the extraterrestrials, but amongst the am I still with you?
Yes.
Okay, I heard so. Anyway, there's might be some serious disagreement between some of the authorities and some of the other people who are supposed to be our pals here. So all I'm saying is I don't have any problem with extraterrestrials being involved in the planning and all the planet, but the fact that the Raelian doctrine and such and information that I received, they ignore the parts of the Bible that doesn't agree with that view of the human being, the humanist view. And they ignore the creator, like there was a creator before there was any stars or before there was anything. But in the beginning there was God. Okay.
That's the translation of in English.
Are you saying that the Elohim were here before the first star was created, before the heavens and the earth were laid down?
Actually, in the origin, the Elohim didn't create the earth. They created everything that was on the earth, and the planets were there, and it,
So there was no before everything. Everything always was.
there is
Always
no
will be.
beginning.
Right.
That's what the symbol I'm wearing is explaining.
I know. Yeah.
It
Space and
represents
time,
the
eternal.
it represents infinity in time and space.
Right.
And in the creations of human being, in every level, there is no beginning, no end.
Well, Christ Himself, Jesus, one of your people who has been appointed by the Elohim, one of your people who has been raised, Himself is saying that God will be here after the last star is burned out, and and He says, "I don't come to bring peace, but division," and He says all of these other things. Now,
Yeah, Jesus was sent by the Elohim. He was a prophet, like many of them, like Buddha, Muhammad, Joseph Smith.
well,
about
He doesn't
40
seem
of
to
them.
agree with anything you're saying here.
Oh yes, we're saying the same thing. It's just that we.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, because Jesus, when he talked to the people in this time, he couldn't talk the same way that Rael talks, but they were saying the same thing. But he was talking to primitive people. They couldn't understand, and when I say primitive, means with no scientific knowledge. So he couldn't say the same thing the same way that Rael is. Rael is here to demystify everything, to bring the truth about our origin scientifically, which is different, but they're saying the same thing, because Jesus was one of them. He was coming from an earthly woman, and his father was one of them. So when he was talking about his father being in the sky, he was right, because his father lives on another planet. And when he was saying that he was talking about God, he was not talking about God, he was talking about Elohim, if you take the original Bible. Because of course, if you take the Bible in English or French or whatever, they talk about God, because it has been translated like that. But it's plural. Elohim, it's a plural because the singular is Eloha. And if you take, when they say we created human beings on their, they created human beings on their image, on their likeness, it's a plural. And they say that we are like them, so they're human being like us. They look like us and we look like them. When they came on this planet, they created 7 laboratories where they created the 7 different races, which is very important because we all come from them. Whatever the color of your skin, you have been created by a group of Elohim on their image. Means that on their planet they have different races too. Not only white, not only black, not only yellow, whatever, but it's differences, which is beautiful. To be different and to respect the differences. You know, to respect the philosophy of somebody else. It's very important. You know, I respect somebody who is Catholic because if it's what makes him happy, it's important. The most important thing is to be happy. That's the most important thing. And to respect people.
Okay, folks, we're visiting with Marie Helen Parent. She is a Raelian priest from, you're living in Miami now, but you
Yes.
were in
Montreal. I come from Montreal, Quebec.
And if you, I hope you all can understand her accent.
I hope so. You let me know if you don't understand
I'm doing
something.
it. I've got it down now.
Yes.
Okay, next caller. You're on the air, caller.
Hi, Jeff. How are you doing?
Good, and you?
Hey, I think that, not the caller that just called in, but before that had to have been Alex, and Alex Jones, and it seems to me that Alex is calling up. He gets to ranting on his show, then he gets on your show and rants, then he calls in on every show and rants and raves. And, geez, that guy gets enough airtime. You need, you know. Anyway, now, young lady, in regards to what you're talking about here, doesn't the Bible says, Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me." And when you say that the Muhammad and Buddha and these other prophets said the thing, and thing is Jesus Christ, that's absolutely not correct, because Jesus Christ, these other prophets, the other religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, and everything, the way to the Godhead, or the way to eternal salvation, is through good works, through self-sacrifice, through mortification of the flesh. In the true Christian religion, the way to salvation is through the death and shedding of blood of Jesus Christ. He paid the price for our sins. We were redeemed if we believe that and ask Him to come in. And that has absolutely nothing to do with the other thought systems of these other religions, these beliefs. Now, what's your response to that?
Well,
We're in the middle of pictures here, but go ahead.
well, you know, like I said a little bit earlier, every the prophet that they came, they were not saying like the exact thing, the same way, because it was adapted to the people in those times and to the country where they were, because Muhammad was in a different area that Jesus was, so he had to be adapted to the people who were there and in the time that was done. But they were all sent by the Elohim. All the religion have the same origin. We all come from the Elohim. So there is not a religion better than the other one. It was just that at this particular time, it was like in one epoch there is only one prophet that they sent. They never sent two prophets in the same time. So when Jesus came, he was the only one in this time. So everything that went through the Elohim went through him. But don't forget that in the Bible there is a lot of things that that are not written properly, because, like, for example, the New Testament is the worst, because the New Testament was written many years after Jesus died. Nothing was written in the time of Jesus, nothing at all. It was like 200-300 years after, and it was a tradition of word to word with people that couldn't understand anything that they were saying, and it was word to word for almost 300 years, and after they decided to write things. So can you imagine how deformed it could have been? It's like if you played the game of the telephone. We could do it here with 4 or 5 people, and then you say one word and at the end it's completely different, and in a few seconds. So can you imagine in 300 years how it came up after? So his message was a message of love, of having more love between each other. That's what the prophet, their mission was all about. So we could survive through the time and get to this age where we are now, which is the age of the revelation, the age of the apocalypse. We're very privileged to live in this time because we'll see everything. It's the most important time of the humanity is now, because the Elohim will come back with all those prophets. Everything will be understood, and it's going to be in this generation. We're going to see everything. And maybe you're going to be there, Jeff, and be able to interview the Elohim.
All right. Next caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
How you doing?
Just fine, Jeff. How are you?
Just doing all right.
Hey, man, Alex is he's going off, dude. You need to get control of him.
Whoop. All right. For some reason, that got disconnected. Next caller, you're on the air.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. I agree with the first 3 previous callers. This religion this lady is preaching is none other than has been around since the time of Cain. It's a religion he started, and it's gone through Hinduism. And I mean, you know, Jesus Christ said he was the way, the truth, and the life. And he did not ever claim to be a prophet. He said that he was the Son of God, which is different than these other prophets, Muhammad and all of these others. They had all their different religions. You can say it came to different people, different places, different times throughout the world. But if all of these other religions are correct, then everybody can do their own thing and get to heaven, if you will, on their own merits or their own religions. But Christ said that he was the only way. And this was through the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ. None of the others, so-called prophets, raised from the dead to prove what they were saying was true. And there just is no other way. Anything that is contrary to what he taught or what he believed is Antichrist, is the spirit of Antichrist. And there's Christ being meaning that he was the anointed one of God. He is the Son of God. And if he is the Son of God, the Elohim, and yes, that is a plural word, and you can read that in Genesis right on through. It talks about all that, and it is one God.
Okay, did you
Well, I answered
respond?
that already.
You did?
Yes, that, if you take the real original Bible, there you don't find the word God, you find Elohim. And there is other ways. I mean, Jesus was one of the prophets. The prophet means prophetess, which means the one who reveals. So Jesus come here and reveal something. Muhammad was here and revealed something. And they were all sent. He was the only one in his time. That's what he was saying. I'm the only one now that is connected with the Elohim. But in the time of Muhammad, he was the only one then, prophet, that was sent by the Elohim. And Jesus was the fruit, like I said before, of an earthly woman and a man from there, an Eloah. So he was special in that way that for the first time, they created their prophet that way. And so that's why he was talking about his father in the sky, and his father was an Eloah. If he didn't say that he was the son of God, because God doesn't exist in Hebrew, the word God. It's Elohim. And all our Bibles comes from Hebrew. That was written in Hebrew. Jesus was speaking Hebrew. He was not speaking English. So he was speaking this language. And with the translation, a lot of mistake, and a lot of mistake too because of the oral tradition of what Jesus was saying. The most accurate written document that we can find, a little bit in the Genesis and in the Kabbalah, which is pretty good in accurate information in the Kabbalah.
Okay, next caller, you're on the air.
Hello, Jeff.
How you doing?
Listen, man, I agree with a lot of the things that Mary's saying tonight. The only thing that concerns me is that, supposedly, if you read Revelations and you get off all into that end of it, someone's going to come and supposedly have all the answers. And it's also stated that even the most elect will be deceived. And I think that's the scary part of this deal. You with me?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I mean, does that make any sense to you guys? I mean, someone comes, they've got all the answers to our environmental problems. They've got our, they can solve it all. But yet, who are these people? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it was announced that in the time of the Revelation, in the time of the Apocalypse, they would send their last prophet, the Paraclete that they call it in the Bible, the one who will tell the truth. And Rael's book in French is called The Book Which Tells the Truth. And he is the last prophet that they sent on this planet. Of course, it's hard to believe for most of us because we don't. Why him? Why not me? Why not this person? But you need somebody to be that messenger that will come, and he is the last one before they come back here. And he's the Messiah that the Jewish people are waiting for. He's the one who reveals everything, who has all the answer of what you're talking about.
Well, I think what I'm talking about, and I don't want to get too traditional, I'm just thinking Antichrist, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Antichrist means before Christ, and it was John the Baptist, because ante, if you speak Latin, means before. So Antichrist was before Christ. It means the one who announced Christ. It was John the Baptist that was the Antichrist.
Oh gosh, John the Baptist was Jesus' cousin, right? I mean,
he was the one
that baptized Jesus.
He was the one who prepared the welcoming of Jesus before he came.
Well, all I was referring to is the fact that supposedly some of the the saints, the Christians, would be deceived by this miraculous happening that you're referring to?
I don't know. I never heard about that.
It's in the Bible.
Well, a lot
Definitely.
of things in the Bible are. Don't forget that a lot of things in the Bible were written, first of all, a long time after Jesus died, and the church had a lot of dogma, many years after Jesus was gone.
Right.
The Virgin Mary, it's not a long time ago that they decided that she was virgin.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in the time of Jesus that she was declared virgin. It was a few hundred years ago by the church.
Mm-hmm.
So it has nothing to do with the message of Christ at all.
Well, I don't know. You know, like...
Yeah, well, make some research and you'll find out. If you take the history of the Catholic Church, you'll see all the dogma where they went voted, and all the decision when the Trinity was voted. All this was not in the time of Jesus. It was a lot of years after. And if you study that, you'll find...
I realize a lot of that was written hundreds of years later, like you're saying.
Yes, and it was not the message of Jesus himself.
Well, John, you know, was exiled on Patmos, and he wrote a lot of that in Revelation.
John, the apostle?
Oh, yes.
None of the apostles?
No, there's like 2 or 3 different Johns. John the Baptist. I think there's still some controversy over who John was of Patmos.
But nothing was written in the, by the apostle after, because it's always saying according to John, according to Mark, according to Matthew.
He's referring to the
yes, it's the tradition, the verbal tradition that they did was according to them, but they never wrote anything. The apostle that were with Jesus, nothing was written by them at all.
Right. So okay, the Elohim, that's who you're saying this is.
Yes.
Is Satan involved anywhere in this deal?
Satan?
Yes.
Yes, Satan was, is an Eloah, is an extraterrestrial, is one of the Elohim. And
he also has a band of angels with him, does he not?
The thing is that he's the one who was against the creation on this planet.
Exactly.
Like we answered earlier, that there was a party that was against this creation because he was saying that it was not successful and we were too aggressive and we should be destroyed.
Right.
We should be destroyed. So he's the one who passed tests to a lot of the prophets, of the great people we see that in the Bible. He passed tests to them to prove, he wanted to prove to Yahweh, which is the president of the Elohim, that we were not good. So Satan, the devil, is the same person, because devil comes from diabolos, which means calumniator. That he was saying calumny. You can see this word in English, calumny, false things. Is it the word? Calumnia. So he was saying, like, he was testing those people to see if they really love the creators. So he's the one who tried to prove that we shouldn't be deserve to live because we're not successful, we're too aggressive. And Lucifer was, it's another person, it's not the same person, is the president of, it was the president on earth to regulate the creation in then, because Lucifer means the light. He was bringing the light and on this planet by creating people. So if we are on this planet alive right now, it depends of Lucifer, because he's the one who really defend us and talk for us and say that we're good and we're going to get better and it's going to be successful. And Yahweh is the president on their planet.
Okay. Next caller, you're on the air.
Hi, this is Curtis. I wanted to talk to Miss Parent about a couple of things.
Yes.
I watch your show that y'all present every once in a while on Access. I guess it's a 30-minute or maybe even an hour-long